Bonjour, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. Welcome to the Cannes Film Festival, the Marché de Film. My name is Sten Salover. I'm head of Cannes Next, the innovation platform of the Marché de Film. And of course, we all know why are we here. We're going to talk about creativity, filmmaking, technology, as well as a unique platform called DCP that is revolutionizing and empowering independent filmmakers at a time where this mission is the most necessary. Without further ado, I have a great pleasure to invite on stage Leo Matchett, the CEO of DCP, as well as the one and only Roman Coppola. Welcome to Cannes.
Thank you.
Well, Roman, you're here in Cannes with a film that is just about to premiere. To start, I just want to ask you, you're working across technology, screenwriting, producing, launching apps, tote bags, and many other things. If you think about this year, Cannes, what positively keeps you awake at night in 2025?
Well, I'm a very optimistic person. That's my default. I'm a curious person. And that curiosity led me into this project with Leo. You know, I've grown up around a love for technology. My dad has always been very curious about technology, especially digital cinema tools. And in fact, my great-grandfather built the Vitaphone, which is the device that allowed synchronous sound to occur on the jazz singer. So there's something about filmmaking and technology that go together. And when I learned about the blockchain from Leo, and he proposed the framework of this idea, I thought, wow, let's reach out and be adventurous and try to use blockchain technology to benefit filmmakers. So the essence of it is that it's a film community online that uses a tokenization to have everyone participate and weigh in and engage with one another, looking for opportunities, and we offer these rewards, finishing funds, various grants, various tools like Fuji cameras and Mac devices have been donated. It's a charitable organization, so we get the benefit of wonderful support from partners. And we basically make a platform that freely gives out opportunities to those that the community feels are most deserving.
So I want to come back into that important sense of collegiality and community in a bit later as well. If I look back in the past sort of year or two, and especially at the US industry, it's been an extraordinary time of upheaval, to say the least. We had the SAG strikes, the writer strikes, AI, and more AI, a lot of consolidations on studio sides, as well as on the streamer side as well. The studio that your father founded and you are leading right now has always had this very specific ethos or a mission in this environment. How important or what is the ethos in 2025 in a landscape where everything gets majored, so to speak?
Well, the ethos you're speaking of, American Zoetrope, is a film company my dad founded in 1969, and we continue on, and we support the films that we, from our family in particular, and others that we're able to support. But it's always been based on a community. The company was founded by my dad, George Lucas, John Milius, Carol Ballard, Walter Murch, you know, all these, that group of filmmakers that came out of that time. They were very passionate about the work. They saw an opportunity for film to be more than just a commercial enterprise, an artistic vision, but obviously welcome commercial components if you consider George Lucas's work. So that's the spirit the company was founded, I grew up around, and we're basically taking that and putting it online. And it's so interesting because in the past, we know there was a wonderful flowering of French cinema, Italian cinema, Japanese, these various cultures that have popped up and had this moment, and they were really all flowered because of this sense of camaraderie and collegiate sharing. And now we're doing that, but the people may be in diverse places, but they're sort of able to gather and compare notes and exchange and be introduced and support one another online. So that's what makes it unique.
I want to kind of come back to this question of creativity and technology that you also briefly mentioned. This type of mission to harness the power of technology, of course, has been in the forefront of studio and the father and some of his friends and colleagues you mentioned. But if you look at the latest discussion, it seems that the kind of creative track versus the technology track of the film industry often are going into, I would say, rather bipartisan or divergent ways. There's tremendous fear around technology, especially when we look at AI, and obviously when blockchain came about, there were similar types of fears and concerns. Throughout your own work, through music video, visual effects, for example, and elsewhere, you've always sort of bridged that gap between technology and filmmaking. Is that something that comes to you naturally, or do you have a process? Are you keeping an open mind? How do you approach that?
I'm very open-minded. That's my nature. I'm very curious. My career has been kind of constructed about opportunities that have come my way, and I jump aboard. Usually when I haven't done something, then I seek out doing that thing. And yeah, I agree that technology, my experience in the film industry, maybe true with many industries, is that people do not, something new comes along and they do not adopt it. It's like, oh, we're never going to do that. Like digital filmmaking it's happened 20 years ago, but it took a moment, and then it just happened. And I think that's the trend, that people resist, it's not really sure, and then boom, it's adopted. And you don't even think about it.
And George, who received our Lifetime Achievement Award last year, he already was saying, well, close to 25 years ago, that we will have digital avatars playing in films, and here we are.
Yeah. It takes a moment, but then it happens very quickly. It's like when you go broke, they say it goes very slowly, and then all of a sudden you're bankrupt very quickly. So I know that one.
So your late mother, Eleanor, who has given us some extraordinary documentary films, she, and I will paraphrase that, she said that I was a housewife and then I had to take a giant leap and overcome my fear of making a documentary film and becoming a filmmaker. With you, when you're undertaking projects and you're working on several projects at the same time, again, writing, developing for TV, technology projects, and etc. Is there something that inspires or strives you on your family legacy, and especially on your mother of going through these fears?
My mom is very beloved and very influential to everyone in our family, and it's not exactly true that she was a housewife and then said, "Oh, I'm going to make a movie," because she was always an artist and has a wonderful history of making. She made some short films that are very conceptual art works. She had photography projects, fine art, drawing, and so on. So she always invited that to be part of her life. And I'll tell you what I think is a charming story. In the 70s, when conceptual art was blossoming, where you would have maybe an idea, an event that would become the artwork itself, she took our home and she put little barriers up in front of each of the rooms, and she had us kids in our rooms playing, and so she invited people over in a sort of in the manner you might for a gallery opening, but the house was the artwork, and the kids, we were the artwork, and the kitchen, what she had in the cupboard. So that's a little taste of sort of her living art, more holistically. And so when she made Hearts of Darkness, it's not like she set out to make a film. And I think my comment, even it's about my own career, is it's a continuum. You don't just make a thing. Like, I'm here to promote the and share to the world the Phoenician scheme that I did with Wes. And people say, "Oh, what's it like to be done with that or showing it?" And to me, I don't see it as a thing or an event. It's like a continuum, because I'm seeing Wes and we're talking about new ideas for other films. So it's just a flowing process, and people can jump aboard to see the movie. But when my mom made that film, it wasn't like, "Oh, I'm going to make this thing." So it's more of a flowing manner of life. That is my experience.
How do you gather inspiration?
I just things come your way. I'm eager. I find when I travel, it's inspiring. Obviously, reading. There's this sort of French term being a flâneur, which I appreciate, which is the act of strolling and observing and taking things in. So that's kind of my aspiration. I don't do it every day so perfectly, but just to be receptive and find threads of interest. And as we work together, Leo knows this about me. I'll see a photo. I just showed him something on my phone, like, oh, I saw this, and I shared it with him, and the conversation starts. And so it's not one thing, but again, it's just this kind of flow.
So that's a perfect cue to DCP. So in 2020, that was about 1 week prior to Cannes, and I received a phone call from a PR agent, and she said, "Sten, I know your program is closed, but you need to come on this phone call. It's going to be quite something special." So I went on this phone call, and on the phone call there were Leo and Roman, and we were conversing about DCP, a rather extraordinary approach of rebuilding a community around the sense of independent film. DCP Foundation, a SAC non-profit, has been now launched. It's been now a few years into there with several films produced. Leo, what has been the DCP journey since our soft launch at Cannes at this probably the quietest COVID year?
Thank you, Stan. Yeah, it's been a learning experience for sure. I mean, you know, we had these sort of grand ambitions of, you know, changing the world of cinema, you know, as you do when you dream about things. But what we've discovered, I think, is that it's a longer journey that's going to take slow growth and commitment to our mission, which I think we've done quite well.
And for the people who haven't yet participated in the DCP or haven't seen it, will you break it down for us?
Yeah, certainly. So DCP is a Decentralized Pictures Foundation. Is a nonprofit to support the cinematic arts and discover artists, and we use a you know, approach to who we support, which is somewhat different than other nonprofits or organizations, nations that give out arts grants and whatnot. We try to, as much as possible, rely on our community to tell us who the most deserving people are that we can support, because we can't support everyone. We didn't want to just recreate what already existed, which is, you know, committees and Gatekeepers, exactly. So the way it works is people submit ideas or projects that are either in development or trying to be completed, and our community does their best to review those projects and rate them in various ways with various value sets. And yeah, we get this wonderful data that helps us to determine who the most deserving people are that we can support.
So there's more than half a dozen projects come out of DCP in these years. Miguel, where are you?
He's around here somewhere. Oh, there he is.
Miguel Fauzi's debut feature, Coladita, or The Quiet Maid, extraordinary film completed with the help of DCP and executive produced by Steven Soderbergh. If you have a chance, go talk to Miguel about it and see the film as well.
Yeah, so Miguel has a wonderful story about using blockchain technology. He crowdfunded by selling NFTs to produce most of the film. And along the way, he realized, I think, well, part of it was that the value of crypto at the time had diminished somewhat. But I could be wrong about that. But anyway, there was a need for finishing funds. And we ran into each other at what is called the Film 3 Summit. It was this little conference that we went to in LA. And I was like, oh, you should submit it to our platform. We have this Completion Funds Awards called Andrews Bernard that is being sponsored by Steven Soderbergh. And your film sounds perfect for it. So anyway, he did. And the community really liked his film. And so he ended up being the recipient of the first award, Andrews Bernard Award. And yeah, the film has done very well. It was, I don't want to say won, but it was nominated for a Goya Award.
It was nominated for a Goya Award.
Yes. And it premiered at Talon Black Nights. And yeah, we're excited to get it onto DCP Plus soon. We also had the second Steven Soderbergh Award was called Cold Wallet, which premiered at South by Southwest and has done quite well as well. And we're actually today on this panel in a couple minutes, we're going to announce for the first time the third recipient of that particular award. And so those filmmakers will get to, complete their film, and hopefully it'll do as well as the first two.
So a very pertinent component of DCP is also a mentoring process, and a lot of the Zoetrope collaborators are also participating in that mentoring process. Roman, how important is that type of a filmmaker to filmmaker mentoring at this moment for you and in general?
Yeah, it's very essential. All the arts, not just filmmaking, but fine art, relies on a master apprentice system. I was very lucky as a kid to observe on my dad's sets, and he would give me small tasks and then gradually more significant tasks, and you sort of learn by doing, getting indoctrinated to the lore and to the traditions. So mentoring is, I think, really so wonderful, and that's one of the foundations of what we do. So for any of these grants, there's a kind of a sponsor or a mentor that we link in, and they will give advice and practical support. And as we grow and as we evolve, the hope is that we can have many more opportunities for a photographer or production designer or other aspects of filmmaking to link in with their counterpart as a young person. So we're really just getting started, to be honest.
Fantastic. Well, today we'll have a very special announcement. DCP is launching something very, very relevant called DCP Plus. When we were preparing for this conversation, we're talking that there is a sort of an endemic need really for independent filmmakers, especially sort of reclaim distribution or reassess distribution. Is that a pertinent problem, Leo?
I would say so. I'm sure many people in this room have, been offered crappy deals for films that they think are worth, the world. And it's just the nature of the business. And I think that when we approached creating DCP Plus, it was, a way to try and solve that. And, how do we get eyeballs onto independent films if we aren't going to have the marketing budgets? And how do we approach a fair filmmaker-forward platform to showcase work and put it out in maybe a way that's outside the box from what already exists. And it's going to really, truly help the industry and benefit the artists that we're trying to support. So it's almost as if we've created a bit of a public service streaming platform with DCP Plus.
So DCP Plus, public streaming platform, and
sorry, what?
DCP Plus, public streaming platform for independent filmmakers, from independent filmmakers.
From independent, that's right. Yeah, so we've designed it as a cost-plus platform. So, we calculate our cost to store the data, transcode the data, deliver the data to devices, and then we add a markup to it, and the rest of the money goes to the owner of the content. And we feel like, we can scale that linearly and know that we're not going to lose money, which is great. And, it's only going to get cheaper and more money is going to end up in the filmmakers' pockets over time. Moore's Law, exactly. So the other thing is, how do we get people to know about these things? Because it takes millions and millions of dollars. I had a conversation yesterday. It's like you can't do something like this without tens of millions of dollars, at least, if not 100. To get on people's radar and get users in the door to actually consume the content to stream. And so we've come up with a couple interesting ways to do that through partnerships. We are not just going to have independent films on the platform. We're also working with some fantastic content partners to sprinkle independent films along more commercial films in the platform, so you can get a little bit more mainstream audience and then have discovery be intrinsic to just browsing. We're also using the algorithm that we've created to determine the most deserving filmmakers in the financing side, to help place and rank projects based on user preferences in a unique way that I don't think other people are doing. We're dreaming big, and we're trying to solve big problems. And I think with perseverance, we should be able to get there.
Roman, is there a curatorial approach to DCP Plus? How do you see it kind of situating in the larger landscape, where I think an average American has about 6.8 streaming services on their smart TV and so forth?
Yeah, well, that's part of what we're discussing. Some of it is more video on demand, so it may not be as much of a subscription, although we be doing that as well. I like diversity personally, so I think initially as we kick off, we'll have a few classics, some more obscure titles, some artful works, commercial work, and have an array. So kind of intelligently curated cluster of films that are, kind of show our worldview, and specifically world cinema too. So a little taste of films from around the globe. So that's how we'll begin, and the hope, of course, is we'll reach a critical mass, and it'll be a destination for people who have work that they're unable to put on the bigger streamers. And we know there's a kind of a glut with these bigger streamers. They just don't have any more room or appetite to have more stuff that we can accommodate these titles. And as Leo mentioned, our algorithm is basically a means by which this community, through these different markers, can have something rise up and be more recognized. And so, interestingly, we don't just say, oh, is it good or is it bad, but is it controversial? Is it a world that you've never seen before? There's a lot of other criteria that we can use to evaluate things, which will allow you to sort of find material. So that's the ambition.
What would be the 3 most inspiring titles that you would like to see on DCP Plus?
Well, I have diverse tastes. It's funny because Night of the Living Dead is a movie I love deeply. Stephen King says it's his favorite movie.
That's a great choice.
And so that's like we're gonna put that up there. And then,
interestingly, it just went into public domain.
And it's in public domain, so we can do that.
Repackage it, put some new. The Roman's idea.
Anyway, I'll keep the other 2 secret, but that's a flavor. Something new, something old, something more commercial, and like that film.
When are we expecting to launch or access DCP Plus? I understand that you're already meeting people in Cannes. Who is the sort of the soft spot filmmaker or a content licensor for DCP Plus?
Yeah, I think it's obviously we want consumers who aren't filmmakers to do the consuming, but yes, we're meeting with people who have films that they would like to partner with us. We're actually offering P&A funding to filmmakers that will go exclusively on our platform, which is exciting because I feel like, that's a really difficult. The most difficult thing really is how do you get the people to know about it, to watch it, I think that. Actually, we're going to show a video here in a minute, which will end with a QR code that you can scan, and if you'd like to have early access to test the platform, you can do so. But the public launch, we're aiming for end of summer.
Soon. I think that's a great cue. Let's play the clip.
We value experimentation, we value unique voices. All the decisions we've made is to create an alternative to Hollywood, where we can be in early with talented people and sponsor them, encourage them, and be connected to them.
Instead of having a development department that's going to read through all the screenplays and pick the ones that they think are the best, we're going to outsource that review to the world. Hope to see you in the next project.
To make a very equitable streaming platform.
If you want to grab the QR code, see Leo later. Well, Leo, we have another treat for you as well today, right? The DCP has been operating on awards, and today we have quite a surprising award.
Yes.
To announce.
I alluded to it earlier, but yeah. So this is the third Andrews Bernard Award, and yeah, it's did a call for entries, got many submissions. The community voted, and honestly, we had so many great films. This one, it was
how many?
Well, great ones, or I don't want to say how many, but it was a very difficult decision. I'll say that, and I don't know, Roman, you watched them as well. I feel like there was about half a dozen that we were sort of torn on, and yeah, so we sent them to Steven Soderbergh to decide, and he just got back to us the other day.
Was there a prevailing theme or a sensibility in these projects? When you were
it's
looking
rather
at
open. The six finalists, as it were very diverse, and that's what made the choice a little tricky, because one was more comedic, one was more personal, one was of different types. But this one just rose up and had the most vitality that felt like a good fit, and so that's why we decided on that one.
Shall we try to get the winners?
Yes,
with us from Los Angeles.
See if they can join. And the winning film is called Sour Party. So thank you.
So let's see. Oh, good morning, Los Angeles.
It's working.
Good morning.
Good morning from Cannes.
Good morning, Michael. How are you? I can't see you, but...
Oh, you can't see us. We're good. We're amazing. We're so happy to be here.
Thank you so much for getting up so early. I really appreciate that. I was telling them, it would be really great if you could come on stage, or at least be ready to. So I think you must have had some idea. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the film quickly, and sort of what the next steps will be, and what this award will mean to you guys?
Just to be vividly clear, you guys are the recipient of the Andrews Bernard Award. So congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
And there is a whole beach full of people cheering to you in Cannes at the Croisette.
Well, Sour Party is a comedy. It's kind of a 90s throwback style comedy.
Yes, it's very Romy Michelle meets Pineapple Express.
It follows Gwen and James, who are two kind of broke, struggling Los Angeles natives, and they are desperate to get money for a gift for a baby shower.
So they make a list of people who they think owe them money, and it's a road trip from Echo Park to Malibu where they try to collect on their debts.
Yeah, so they travel from person to person and end up kind of reliving all their past traumas with all these different crazy characters that they've met along their journey in LA. And yeah, it's a wild ride of a film. I mean, we're so excited for everyone to see it.
Great. And the funds that you're going to receive, what needs to be done? In what way is it going to help you complete the movie?
Well, we have an amazing soundtrack of LA-based punk female artists that we would love to pay.
Yes.
Great.
Can you also share a little bit of the DCP filmmaker journey? Why you decided to join DCP? And filmmakers are sometimes quite tech averse. How did you get to DCP? How did you choose it? And how it looks on the filmmaker side?
Oh, we might have lost them. Uh-oh. Well, they were about to say they loved the journey on DCP. And it was a fantastic platform that is really going to help them in their filmmaking careers.
Yeah, you're making a perfect stand-in. We'll
Miguel.
Well, Miguel, you want to jump in and share how was your journey as a DCP filmmaker?
Miguel won the first prize we offered with a wonderful film called Calladita.
Thank you. No, please, Roman, sit down. Okay. That's unexpected. Okay. Hey, everyone. Yeah, my experience was amazing. The process for submitting was very seamless and similar to what you expect in these kinds of programs, right? In development programs, especially synopsis, info about the project. In our case, we had a rough cut, which I think is required, but you don't have to share with the whole community, or at least when in my time. I don't know if you've changed that since. So we just shared like a little teaser. And then once we were amongst the finalists, that's when DCP asked us to share the rough cut for the final evaluation and for Zoetrope to watch and choose from. And then we got it at Sundance. It was an event at Sundance that you guys did, where the winner was announced, just like today. And it was amazing. I got to meet Steven, and since then. He's had a bit of a role in mentoring the project, the post-production, and we're so grateful to him and to DCP.
So I have two kind of questions on there.
Thank you.
Tell us very briefly what happened before the DCP fund, because I think that is really, really important to stress here.
Yeah, okay, but...
So, winning short, very fast.
Okay,
winning short film, famous film school, HBO, and nothing happens.
Yeah, so we couldn't get the feature version of the film made, and so I'm going to try to be super brief. I created a collection of NFTs that were still frames of the short film, and I put them on the blockchain on my own website to try and fund the feature version. And we managed to raise around $700,000 from around 600 collectors from around the world in a matter of months, and that's how we made the movie. Up until we got to post-production, where we found that we needed a little more.
And no public funder wanted to finance before.
No public or private funding from the official places that you normally get funding.
Black Knights, Goya. Last year, actually, during Cannes, the film was in cinemas in Spain, I remember.
Yeah.
And now it's been shown all over the world.
It had a good run. Yeah, and also it ended up on Netflix in Spain and was #1 film on Netflix, so we're very happy. In the end, the people showed up and the film worked. So DCP was one of the ones who believed in us, and so we're always grateful.
Thank you so much, Miguel.
Thank you, Miguel.
Thank you.
And if anyone wants to talk about, Miguel, why public funding in Europe is so efficient, you're very happy to do that after the session. Well, it seems that technical connection in Cannes is something that we certainly need to improve on. But before we'll open up for a few questions from the audience. What is the road ahead for you? Building the DCP plus catalog, continuing the non-profit. How the next sort of a year to 24 months is going to look for the DCP Foundation?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, we've built the web app. It's pretty much there, all functionality. We need to continue working with content partners to get some really amazing content in there. The Android TV and Apple TV apps are super important. We want people to be able to browse from the comfort of their couch with a remote control, as old folks like myself like to do. I know younger generations are using their phones mostly, but we're also doing an element of discovery through scrolling for vertical format micro trailers and stuff. So that's super exciting as a feature. And then I think the other thing is what's next is using the revenue that we hopefully get from this wonderful streaming platform to complete the virtuous circle that we've been trying to create, which will then put money back in to the financing side of the app to help discover more filmmakers and artists into the future. So we want this feedback loop to sort of flywheel up. And I think I like to say we've been toying with the idea of like streaming with purpose. If we have Night of the Living Dead on our platform, and let's say it's $1.99 to rent it. If you could rent it on our platform, or you could rent it on Amazon Prime, by doing it on our platform, you're going to support more filmmakers into the future because of our nonprofit mission and helping to regenerate funds to give out, right? And as a nonprofit, that's part of our mandate. And so we're excited to get that messaging out to the world and have a great go-to-market campaign for the platform. And hopefully we can make a difference.
Roman.
I have one more thing that I'm excited about. We have a lot of initiatives, a lot of ideas, but one of them is we have a horror award right now that's being sponsored by Jed Stewart.
Jed Shepard and Eduardo Sanchez.
Eduardo Sanchez. So
yeah.
Eduardo Sanchez made the highest, most profitable movie ever.
Blair Witch. Yeah.
Ever made in the world, Blair Witch.
That Blair Witch.
Yes. And Jed is a really brilliant horror lover of horror movies and a filmmaker that works in that genre. So we have initiated the horror award. We're financing 2 short films with that in that genre. And they're the mentors and supporting it and helping to curate it and guide it. So those 2 short films, not only will they get the mentorship of those very important artists in that field, when the films are done, there's the promise to show them to the studio contacts and other managers and other people in the community, the proper filmmaking community, to potentially open doors to expand them into a feature. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is that we're intending to roll out a group of grants to produce short films for modest budgets. But if you look at any filmmaker you may admire, most all of them started with doing a short film first. But there's no place to help sponsor and promote and share short films. Just not a popular format. But it's and if you can think of any filmmaker. Someone name a filmmaker, a famous filmmaker. David Fincher. I don't know his short film, but Scorsese did It's Not Just You, Murray. Wes Anderson did Bottle Rocket as a short. Whiplash. That director Damien Chazelle had a short. It's almost. My sister Sophia did a wonderful short called Lick the Star. So it's such a wonderful place to find identities and talent and unique voices. And so that's one of the initiatives we're doing. And we're going to try to roll them out. Like each month, we'll do 1 or 2, and then reach a critical mass.
So we'll see do we have Los Angeles back on live or not? I guess we'll let them to continue their nap, probably.
Yeah, maybe they went back to sleep.
Great. I really want to close up with Megalopolis. And one of my own personal moments of joy and surprise was actually on the last day of Cannes. So 8:30 in the morning, I went to the Hannes Varda Cinema to see Megalopolis, which, by the way, I totally love. And your father was there as well, introducing the film. And in the film, we have an intermission of the journalist, and I believe the journalist said, as we jump into the future, we should do so unafraid. But if we do jump into the future, there's something to be afraid of. So, Roman, for you, if you look at your own experience, your own history in the independent cinema, and you look into the future of independent cinema, what do you see?
Well, you bring up Megalopolis, which I was part of, and obviously I'm very proud of my dad for being such a bold, filmmaker. And but it's interesting. We did a tribute at the AFI where he has all these accolades, but the way I characterized him is he's like the world's most important film student. And the reason for that is he is very curious about what is a film, what could it be, where's it going? And his belief is that films, they're 110 years old or so, that we're just at a sort of total beginning of where they're going to end up. And so his view, and I share the view, is that we're just at the beginning of some flowering, and it's going to unfold in ways that we can't even begin to anticipate. But it is going to involve
and
future
perhaps
technology.
More subconscious and more experimental rather than a narrative flowering.
The experiments lead to other things. It's just a sort of a garden of possibility, and there's room for everything. And I think our platform is kind of built that way, where we value anything that's diverse and interesting, and not that we're particularly provocative or trying to be exclusively that. We're just open to everything, and especially the notion of new voices, new ideas, new formats, using technology. And DCP right now is a kind of has a financing component, and now we're releasing a distribution component. But there's other components to support filmmakers, whether it be casting, whether it be other resources, locations, and even gathering, crowdsourcing imagery, or whatever it may be. But this vibrant community on a system that is decentralized and equitable and immutable, I could make a film and say, look, Sten, I'm going to give you like 0.01% of my sales for the great advice you gave me, and it would be true.
Or even an executive producer advice, which is sometimes even more valuable.
Whatever it may be, but it's right now the financial component of the movie business is not very equitable or biased towards the makers, and that's something we're addressing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Leo Matchett, Roman Coppola. Thank you very much. Roman and Leo are going to stay here for a while. If you're interested in DCP or DCP Plus, go get him. Thank you very much.